Hey, I'm Aswathy and you're with me on Module 3 of ELT series, Major Approaches and Methods in ELT. Part 1 of this module discusses grammar translation method, as you know. Now you're watching Part 2. It discusses direct method. Please watch this video after watching Part 1, that is grammar translation method. It will definitely help you to have a better understanding of direct method. Now, direct method is a second method that we are learning. Direct method was a reaction against grammar translation method. You know that grammar translation method was inadequate to develop communicative skills in L2 or English. So direct method operates on the idea that second language learning must be an imitation of the first language. The reformers thought the ways of learning L2 without the help of L1 so that it will help to develop communication skills in L2. It was earlier known as the natural method and was also known by different names like the psychological method, reform method, phonological method, phoneme method, Berlitz's method, and also anti-grammatical method. Now, to a brief history of this method, the roots of direct method could be traced back to 19th century. That is, in 1880, Francois Gouin wrote a book titled The Art of Teaching and Learning Languages. The Art of Teaching and Learning Languages. According to this book, a foreign language could be taught using a series of simple events described in foreign language itself, followed by a series of reading and writing tasks based on the same. That is based on L2. The teacher uses full sentences in foreign language as input rather than words, phrases, and no translation was used in the classroom. This method, though did not become very popular in France, found a ready audience in Germany. In the late 19th century and towards the beginning of the 20th century, Henry Sweet, an English philologist, modified this method, and later, by the turn of the century, this method was called direct method. Webster's New International Dictionary has given a very comprehensive definition of direct method. According to this, direct method is a method of teaching a foreign language, especially a modern language, through conversation, discussion, and reading in the language itself, without the use of people's language, without translation, and without the study of formal grammar. The first words are taught by pointing to objects or pictures or performing actions. Hope this comprehensive definition gives you a better understanding or idea about direct method. Let's see the features of direct method enumerated by H.E. Palmer. The first one is that translation is completely banned in direct method classroom, and mother tongue as well as bilingual dictionary is also not allowed in the classroom. Grammar is taught inductively, that is from examples to rules. Oral teaching precedes reading and writing in the classroom. Pronunciation is given utmost importance. So phonetics is taught right from the early stages of learning. Meaning of words. It is taught using objects or relating to contexts. Now, grammar and vocabulary. It is taught using question-answer sessions in L2. Now, what is the aim of direct method? The aim of direct method is to get the learner think in the target language, that is L2 or English, so as to establish a direct bond between experience and expression. There should be no intervention of mother tongue. In grammar translation method, when the learner comes across a sentence, say sentence in L2, say E, he immediately thinks of its native equivalent, say M. Then he thinks of the idea or the concept underlying that sentence, say C. The link can be denoted like E to M, then to C. In the direct method classroom, there is no intervention of M or native language. So the link is directly from E to C. He thinks directly in the target language without the intervention of mother tongue. That is why actually the method is called the direct method. Principles of direct method. First one is oral training. It lays emphasis to speech. L2 is taught through conversations. Learners get a lot of practice in hearing and speaking L2. Phonetics is taught so they acquire good pronunciation, then inhibition of mother tongue to establish a direct bond between the experience and expression. Sentence is a unit of speech. Emphasis is laid on speaking full sentences. Inductive teaching of grammar is followed from examples to rule. Grammatical rules are learned after the learner has learned to use L2 effectively. Learning is about forming associations, and so repetition is essential for reinforcement of structures. 5 stages of learning in direct method formulated by Henry Sweet. The first one is mechanical. Here, the pronunciation of words and sentences are mastered thoroughly. The second one is grammatical. Grammatical categories are in the text are identified and taught, and teaching of grammar is graded from easy to difficult. The third one is idiomatic and lexical. Idioms in the text and other sources are taught systematically in the classroom. The next one is literary. In the literary stage, graded texts from contemporary literature are studied by the learners. Now, coming to the next one and the last one, that is archaic. In archaic, what happens is that the classical literature is taught with particular emphasis on its lexical and syntactical items. Lexical and syntactical items are also studied. Let's see how a direct method classroom works. It is clear contrast to grammar translation method classroom. A direct method course begins with learning of foreign language or foreign words and phrases with help of objects and actions performed in the classroom, mainly by the teacher. The next step is to learn to use language, the language of the everyday life, using concrete representations, pictures, miming, sketches, and explanations in L2. The students are exposed to complete meaningful sentences in L2. Grammar is taught inductively, that is, learners learn through lot of examples, and transcription is important and not translation. Now come to the advantages of direct method. The first advantage is that it is a natural method. It follows the order of LSRW. It makes direct association between thought and expression. It uses sentence as a unit of expression. It gives importance to fluency, that is oral, speech, practice is given importance. Context-based oral teaching is given. It improves pronunciation through the study of phonetics. It makes use of audiovisual aids, so the learners find it very interesting. Now, the disadvantages of direct method. It is an incomplete method. Too much emphasis on speaking and neglects reading and writing in actual practice. It requires efficient or competent teachers who are too good in conversational English. It requires linguistic-minded learners, so learners with a fine ear for the language. It is used or not is suitable for overcrowded classrooms, as the method requires individual attention. It is an expensive method, naturally, because it requires the use of a lot of teaching aids. It is time consuming. Then it is challenging to teacher because meanings of abstract words, it is difficult to teach meanings of abstract words only with the help of teaching aids. The chart gives you a comparative study of grammar translation method and direct method. Well, that's all about direct method. We'll meet you soon with another method or approach in ELT in the next module. Till then, bye-bye. Take care.